leaders whom are here and across the world. Who are we and what do we do? Electronic.
Academic staff members, the president and officials of the Electronic Club, and dear students, I extend a very warm welcome to each one of you who have joined.
And these will be called as the gold slide image. We want to bring in machine learning models into this such that they can do image analysis tasks. However, there are numerous problems.
At that audio pairs, you can see the illustration of our algorithm. Let's take a look at the performance of our model algorithm. Let's see the first example. In the first line, you can see the true OpenAI whisper, but now the audio is added. She loves and gives me the ultimate beauty of life.
SLT Mobitel recognize the vital role the department plays in developing highly skilled graduates who can contribute
Nayaka, Amaya Dharmasuri, and Dinithita Sarnayaka presented their research paper, Crosspoint, Self-Supervised Cross-Mode Contrasted Learning for 3D Point Cloud Understanding at the world's top computer vision conference. In 2023, the Department of Electronic and Telecommunication Engineering marked a historic first by becoming the only Sri Lankan team to reach the top teams at the prestigious DVCon India Risky Processor Design. Their talent and determination brings.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a huge round of applause for this momentous occasion. Thank you, Professor Dilika Dias, for your wonderful.
Innovative digital solutions that aim to positively transform lives, businesses, and communities. We are creating an opportunity for.
To lead us through this enlightening exchange, I am delighted to invite a distinguished individual, Dr. Subodha Charles.
He earned his bachelor's degree in electronic and telecommunication engineering at University of Baltimore and obtained his PhD in embedded system security from University of Florida. He is currently a faculty member at the Department of Electronic and Telecommunication Engineering.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming Dr. Subodha Charles to the stage to guide us through this dynamic forum.
So we see the answers coming in. About 25 people have responded so far. The domain that we are operating, and ENTC has a long history of being engaged in this.
Question regarding automation in manufacturing industries. So currently we can see that in manufacturing industries they are trying to use technologies like IoT and robotics to automate some of their processes. Like if I give some example, like countries like Bangladesh and Vietnam are trying to automate processes in their garment industry. So like since like Sri Lanka has very strong exports like tea and apparel, I'd like to know how much automation is currently there in those industries and whether there will be future opportunities for IoT and automation service providers in this domain.
Thank you for the question, Subodh. A relatively specific question for a particular industry. Is there anyone in the audience from whom we can get an answer for that?
So I'm from Sense so past people from agency repository. So not specifically to the government, but we're working on the industrial IoT aspect, especially the packaging industry and logistics side of it. So more than automation, there's a huge scope came after the COVID and pandemic. Like the lockdown happened, manufacturing plants started to work on batch-based work procedures. Like if they have 200 people, they segment that into 4 different batches, started to work on. So they need to digitalize their working flow. So the opportunities, especially in the digital twin, on product digital twin and process digital twin and performance digital twin improve a lot. So automating the process.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Another question regarding Suku's previous question. Because I'm from CZR PLC, one of the largest textile fabric manufacturers in Southeast Asia. So when it comes to technology, process optimization, process automation, it's relatively new for our industry in Sri Lanka in particular. Because for the past 20 odd years or so, we have been reaping quite a bit of good margins, and like the labor, the manual labor, everything was involved in the industry. But now with the competition growing, especially in Bangladesh, Vietnam, Indonesia, and even in African countries, we are falling a little behind with technology. So the industry is picking up. For example,
so my question is regarding embedded AI. I want to know is what is the position of embedded AI industry in Sri Lankan context? That means what are the new opportunities arising and what can we as undergraduates do to make a significant impact to this industry?
When you talk about embedded AI, yes, Envoyage AI is an area where we work a lot. There's a lot of applications, numerous applications, especially even though you may not think like autonomous driving is kind of embedded AI engaged, because it's merging, it's somewhat blurry, but if you look at automation, there's so much of embedded AI involved. I'm sure the factories that we talk about, inspection, that is mostly embedded AI. You look at your
So there are definitely some interesting ideas and some follow-up action items as well that we can take as the department. So when you are submitting through Mentimeter, a quick reminder, as I mentioned earlier, we would like to convert this conversation into action. That is the long-term plan, right? So we can capture the ideas, and if there is something that the department can work in collaboration with the industry, we would very much like to explore that. So therefore, if you can...
Hello everyone. So actually, those are asked the question that I planned. So actually, processor is like processors and chips. Processors and chips are creating the processors and chips, and the application of the processors and chips is a very capital intensive task. So, but it's a billion-dollar industry. My question is there a way for Sri Lanka to capture a part of that industry?
Yeah, so as we mentioned, manufacturing is a very human, capital intensive investment. Right? Very few companies or countries have the instant and the manufacturing plants. So I mean, India, we can capture the country R&D compared to our giant neighbor nations. Yeah, so we have India and our neighbor also have opportunity to work. So in my experience, I see that they still want some high caliber talent. Even the companies are looking for places outside India because obviously India cost is also going up. That's why people are like looking at Vietnam and other locations. So Sri Lanka is a very good opportunity.
Higher consumer GDP and 490 Ti. In the meantime, we can also see some reputed fabricators like TSMC and Intel starting new ventures in coming 2025 in Arizona, USA. So we can also see, as we spoke before, India also investing heavily in this industry, and even Tamil Nadu is seeing some promising results when it comes to this. So my question is, what I'm requires, can we discuss a little bit more about this global dynamics and of course what kind of opportunities that Sri Lanka have?
quickly summarize with this whole silicon thing. And I think we can talk for hours and hours about that. And I don't think that's very productive. But if you just Google it, why are they going to war, you can find out. America doesn't want China to have such advanced processes, and that's why they're trying to stop China from creating that technology. But unfortunately, it's not really succeeding at the moment. But I think in terms of opportunity this creates, well, there's a lot of opportunity that's being created right now because of that. Especially with China out there developing advanced processes, and you mentioned, I'm sorry, I think you asked the question, but you mentioned that a lot of high-end GPUs, the China is getting cut out of a lot of high-end GPUs.
If you look at it from historical perspective, like the fundamentals of processor have not changed for 30, 40 years. So what does it actually tell you? Like comparing with the giants from US. So I think the door has been open. So you can't actually close it down. Pose as bolted, like I think the government and the US Congress.
I'm Dakshin Nandhi. So actually, I'm going to ask. I was going to ask the same question that Subal sir mentioned. Like, my question is related to the generative AI. So recently, there have been many development in the area of generative AI. So as a Sri Lankan, what are the potential opportunities we have in this area? And also, can we compete with the global industry, or are we affected by the?
We can use, we are doing products like IVR products and products like doctor interactions, like for example, person ambulance service product that we are developing. So we want to automate, for example, we can use generative AI.
My name is Leon Fernando. So my question is, we see that most of the companies are moving toward AI related products. So as Sri Lankan students, what areas of machine learning and artificial intelligence we can focus, and what tools and softwares we can master before going into the industry?
When we look at graduates to be recruited, especially in the today's context, we look for the development of the domain.
With machine learning, but to answer your question about as to what you are looking for when somebody, like when you are sending graduates to hire in a company. Actually, if I take my company, like now we are a product company, and mainly like now we are working with locationing and data capture solutions. We are leader in those areas. So if you can look into USB technologies, like device communication technologies, like USB, like Wi-Fi, NFC, those kind of things, I think that will help us when we are recruiting graduates.
At your place, so as a leading global technology company, what I have to say is that there is massive vehicle vacuum at the moment, just to see software developed using generative AI tool, it stands. So because a lot of these modules are trained on publicly available open source code. If you use that type of tool to generate any production code,
is sufficient for people to start building fundamental models. So we have found the right landscape in this, because we cannot be competing with companies that have large number of GPUs. So we have to be concentrating on making contributions that can be useful to organizations that will finally implement them in large scale. So therefore what we do is we go through the cutting edge literature, then identify areas that we can.
And my question is, most of the developed countries, like many of the developed countries are with the IoT-based data-driven agriculture in the agriculture industry. And how about Sri Lanka? And Sri Lanka has, I guess Sri Lanka has a long way to reach that level. So how about the steps we are having, like what are the plans we are having and what are the things running in the industry with that particular development of IoT.
Hi, I'm Miller from Sensor. So, so the technology what we consider is 4.0 era of 4.0 is that it's not new. It's there for over 30 years now, from Israel, Netherlands, USA. So the gap between that to South Asian continent or South Asian subcontinent or Southeast Asia, it's the nature of the industry. It's not about the technology itself, it's more than that.
Actually, as a telecom company, SLT Mobitel, the previous person said, the cost of this ecosystem is one of the hindrances for mass adoption.
3 years in age, 30 years in the manufacturing industry, who pioneered surface mounting technology in Sri Lanka in partnership with the Japanese company. Also being a key industry player, former president of the Electronics Association in its patent. Now, the biggest problem that I think we face is the question of market. Whatever goods or services we produce has to be marketed. Now, the major electronic.
I'm doing. My question is, with the recent development in cloud technologies, particularly with the multi-cloud computing and hybrid cloud computing, there is a significant change in the business infrastructure and how business operates their business processes. So, my first question is, are there any opportunities that may open up for Sri Lanka in these areas? And my second question is, are there any startup opportunities that can be pursued in these areas? Thank you.
I'm Namal from ADA. We do work in software domain and touch some of these technologies like cloud technologies. Unlike any other
area where it's fast evolving, something that we knew might not necessarily be true in the future. So unlearning and learning again, having that capability, I think that will be valuable for the undergraduates who will go to the industry in the future. So we still have time to take a couple of...
And I'm alumni from this department. About that question, so the first thing, if we can focus on the areas which are specializing related to something we learn.
On the question asked earlier, so we have seen a few threats actually in cybersecurity, in cloud data protection, and maybe IoT security as well.
Biomedical engineering. When it comes to the biomedical engineering, especially in biomedical device production, the regulatory process.
Comments on that question as well. Yes.
So I want to add something, one causal item. So we all see biomedical engineering product is a challenging product, and we see this regulatory process as a hurdle.
A few companies in Sri Lanka have been able to produce such products and put up to the market. So we can see that most of them are diagnostic, in the diagnostic domain. So is touching up on the therapeutic side a risky thing, or like can be
electronic? Well, it is predicted that semiconductor market is expected to grow by 2x in the next 5 years because of this demand.
Thank you, Mr. Rasanta, and with that I would like to invite you to the stage to speak few words.